To some people, climate change is a faraway concept that will only affect people in the future, or on the coast, or in hot areas. But it's clear that climate change will affect everyone, even people that doubt its impact. Warming Earth will have an effect on every aspect of life, even things that seemingly have nothing to do with science. Let's look at baseball, for example. Not all hits are created equal. There's many things that contribute to the outcome of an at-bat. For example, the high altitude of Coors Field in Denver allow balls to travel farther, and massive home runs like these can come as a result. But what about a hotter climate? It's not new information that baseballs seem to fly when it's hot out, and home runs are harder to come by during cold spring nights. In a new report published by the American Meteorological Society, looked into how climate change will affect home runs. When a ball travels through air, forces act against it, including air density. Hot weather creates less dense air, where there's less resistance and allows further travel, which increases home runs. An additional 1 degree of warming increases home runs by 1.96%, or up to 2.4% during day games. This chart published by the Washington Post shows how each ballpark will be affected by each degree of warming. Every dot represents the added home runs per year due to climate change. There's the most affected parts and the least affected. One trend, having a roof better protects a park from these changes. We'll look at those in a minute. They're not as fun impacts as well. Heavy extreme storms will increase with a warming climate, as will the length and intensity of heat waves. Challenging weather conditions pose a threat for players and attendees. Weather and high temperatures can be dangerous for vulnerable fans and athletes due to increased thermal stress, UV exposure, and poor air quality. This brings us to the biggest impact: money. Some teams may want to build retractable roofs to counteract these problems, but it would be an extremely expensive and possibly unpopular choice. As for hurricanes and other extreme weather events, teams have already faced the consequences of having coastal facilities located in areas with hurricane risks. Minor league players in the Yankees system had their cars and equipment destroyed after Hurricane Ida hit. The Braves' spring training site sustained millions of dollars worth of damage. These are obviously not the worst impacts of increasing extreme weather events, but it would have economic repercussions if the 15 teams from the Grapefruit League chose to relocate from Florida to avoid further hurricane-related costs. And additionally, major league teams like the Rays or the Marlins may want to relocate for the same reasons. Other teams on the coast will have to face sea level rise, and is it worth keeping expensive stadiums in its path? How will local economies be affected if they move? In a sport that's so intertwined with stats, it's easy to see the impacts of climate change. All industries have an obligation to help mitigate global warming. Club owners should take steps to reduce their carbon emissions. Schedule changes to reduce flights or planning for better public transportation access near stadiums are big steps forward. These logical steps can help address issues due to climate change and set an example for other major sports as well. We may have blown our save on global warming, but there are actions we can take to win in the end.